Welcome back to Day 9, daily number 331, part 3, where we are loving all up on DDe. Ugh. And there are ants swarming my room, and everyone in the chat is like, research Blue Flame, kill him with Blue Flame. Don't worry, I have Grants kills ants, and that only costs like $1.99. We are going to be looking at a last final game, wrapping up with a little bit of Q&A. Let's go through this one a touch more swiftly. It appears that my mouth wants lunch desperately, as it is indeed beginning to salivate. Let's pop in, let's pop in, let's pop in, and do a little ninja-esque version of this final game between these two players. Have fun. Set busy Morrow, please. Set busy Morrow, please. Good luck. Do. Speeding things right along. Very impressed with anyone's ability to thwart a player as good as Morrow. And it looks like we're going to see a 12-13 barracks out of DDe. Morrow with the expand. And here's, just a general question I have is how the hell do you hold off a 2-barracks push like this with just drones? And we see, again, a very distance bunker on this map. Oh, holy drones, Batman. Holy frickin' drones. Does he actually send a second SCV out? Or does he just actually keep the Marines coming? See, again, this is a moment where I struggle in terms of decision-making as a Terran. It's very difficult. I mean, it's easy to say something like, oh yeah, build both your geysers on 25. Like, that is a very straightforward thing to do, but it's very difficult to be like, yeah, pull back your Marines here, but move them forward there, but pull them back here, but try to regroup them here if this and that and this happens. But okay, so kind of just embracing the pullback, getting the 2 gas geysers immediately after he gets the command center. It's a similar structure to the previous game, but we really didn't get the chance to do very much damage, and now DDe will be pulling back because he sees a whole lot of Marines. What are these jerk ants doing? There's like 40 ants on the table to my right. I don't even... it's one protein shake, man. One protein shake to rule them all. Factory for DDe, the usual factory follow-up. Now, I always ask myself this question. So right now, DDe, he's done his 2-raxing stuff. And he didn't really do that much damage. He maybe pulled the drones off for a brief period of time. What is DDe's perception of where Morrow is? I always want to ask myself this question. Like, if I'm the Terraning player, yeah, I can say things like, oh yeah, it's good to get a factory, it's good to follow up with a barracks to complete the wall off. Obviously, I want to have my 2 geysers churning out. But I mean, what do I think Zerg has right now if he went for an early expand? And whenever I say something, I double check it. Like, wow, Morrow actually has only just now begun mining gas. Maybe Morrow's actually delaying this a little bit too much. Maybe he should be getting a Roach Warren up earlier on and just forcing these Marines way back. Because honestly, slow Zerglings just completely suck ass against dim Mariners. Now, we see DDe, interestingly, not going... Hey, that's actually good news. He's not going for the reactor on the starport. He's not going to be going for any kind of very fast drop play. And I think that this is very important to note, because in the last game, DDe did do a good amount of damage, so it seems that a follow-up to that damage would be dropped, but if you didn't do the damage, a follow-up is likely not going to be the fast drop. But this is, I think, a little overbold. But perhaps I'm wrong? That was a lot of damage. How much did he kill off? Oh! An even trade! Yeah, see, I'm not convinced as to how much I really like that. I don't know, because, I mean, you build 2 spine crawlers as Zerg, and you're going to be in great shape against most things. But again, I think DDe, anytime he does a 2-racks opening, he's going to be comfortable going for some kind of drop-focused play. We don't even have... Wow, we actually have not started Combat Shield or Stim yet. That's kind of a nifty little follow-up. Just going for the big tech units, the tanks, the medevacs, not worrying about any of these marining upgrades. Anytime you delay these upgrades, it means your push at the front, your usual push, your core push, is delayed by a lot. But it's amazing to me how many little attacks DDe sneaks in before those moments. Still no third base for Zerg, which is becoming an increasing concern. Oh my god, listen, I ran out of coffee in my house. I'm just doing this cold, guys. And DDe, oh, I know what DDe is doing. Yeah, he's doing his favorite little exploit. And again, notice, this is not a core push. This is not your usual core push. So I take it back, okay? I take back what I said earlier. Earlier on, I said, I guess DDe is going for this factory with siege mode because he didn't really do much damage with the 2 racks push that happened at the front. Sure, he's going to get a medevac out of his starport, and he's going to be doing some drops with it, but it makes sense to me that he wouldn't try to go crazy with drop and stim. However, I'm starting to realize, well, maybe DDe is just doing this strategy straight because you know what? This push is just so good on this map. That could well be the case. And let this be a lesson to all you Zergs. Always build your stuff on the opposite side. More spine crawlers popping up, getting taken down. Oh! Unloading Futas. And this might be a pretty straightforward game. This might not actually be anything that noteworthy at all. But still, I think it's useful to see all these very different ways in which DDe is just exploiting little opportunities to be aggressive for his opponent. He opened up with a Reaper play in Game 1. In Game 2, he did these very fast stim Marine on-ground follow-ups when his opponent did not have Baneling speed. And now on this map, he's just abusing a tactical position. Aggressively, like super insanely aggressively. I have to be a little careful because I think he is going to lose most of his stuff. Oh no, it's burning down. Oh no. Man, Morrow really holds on to the last second. That guy, wow, with the transfuse. Man, this kicks ass with the second follow-up transfuse. I'm always blown away by Morrow's resilience as a player. I'm sort of just speeding through the last part of this to see if there's anything that noteworthy to catch, because again, this is a selfish daily. I'm trying to think about what can I do in this matchup. And DDe being very aggressive, you'll see that almost always this is incorrect, to actually just run up with a bunch of stuff and stim and go. But anytime you are putting pressure on one location, you must be aware, where does most of his army live? Most of his army is living up near the top right now, so a sprint to the bottom right is good. Just always kind of have somewhat of a mental picture of where you think his units are moving around, especially units like Mutalisks. Again, DDe going for the big barracks play. Holy crap, this might be even doing a little bit of overkill. But tons of barracks, and the instant that DDe gets himself more bases, he can just suddenly throw down a bunch of reactors very quickly. I think this is a highly underrated technique for Terrans. Tries to split as best he can, but when the opponent has 5 times as many Banelings as you have Marines, you can only do so much. Unless you're an Ursadak bot. DDe gonna go for the final push, again having some good awareness of where his opponent's pieces are. And doing the gentle advance forward with a couple of units, and hey, pretty typical standard aggression from there. This game, what was interesting to me was what was going on back home. He has, what is this? This is 9 barracks. It's basically 1 with Tech Lab, 4 with Reactor, just to create that equivalence in your mind. And imagine if he took 1 more base and just went CC, boom, 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 rapidly stepping up the production. Let's take some questions. Whoopsie daisies, I unplugged my headphones. I'm increasingly going to be looking over at my ant trap, see if it's trapping any ants. Ooh. Alright, let me... got it plugged in. Markio's question-grabbing technology. Markio's question-grabbing technology. Clear. Make sure you begin their questions with Dear Day 9, or else I don't see them. Refresh. 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 From Hassy Baby. Dear Day 9, whenever I play Terran, I always feel that my money racks up quickly in the mid-game. Do you think it would be a good idea that I just overmake production buildings to compensate and slowly work on knocking out 1 at a time? Yes! Literally, that is exactly what I advocate. As long as you are spending your money, you are doing the right thing. There's a little asterisk at the end of that. But just spend the money. Spend the freaking money, right? Like, here's what I want you to have happen. You look at a game of someone really good, like, let's say, I don't know, Bomber, and you see that in his Terran vs. Protoss, he has 5 barracks in his base with various add-ons. 5 barracks. So you do that, and you have too much money. So you know what? In your games, you have 8 barracks. 8 barracks when you play. But you can keep your money low, and you can do the big Marine maraudering, medevacing fun that Bomber does. You have almost as many units. You might be maybe 8 to 12 units behind just because these extra barracks you're building because of the bumpiness of your macro. But you're still in good shape. What I don't want you to do is say, well, Bomber only builds 5 barracks, so I only want to build 5 barracks. And what happens is you have tons of money in the bank. You cannot spend it fast enough because you don't have enough barracks. And instead of being behind by 8 to 12 units in your army is about half as big as Bomber's is. So, as a result, in all these pushes and engagements, you start pulling back from spots where you should be pushing forward. And all of a sudden, instead of saying to yourself, wow, one of these days I'm going to pop these barracks off and I'm going to have basically the same size army as I do now, you're saying, man, I need a macro better, but you're passive because you're not being aggressive, you're not attacking. Definitely spend the money. That is the most important thing to get into your head because, again, even if you're spending it on the worst stuff possible, you're still aware, or you're still building that skill of awareness of, ooh, I need to spend my money, ooh, I need to spend my money. I guess I'm going to build 15 evolution chambers. No, it's not the best thing to be building, but at least you're aware that you need to be spending your money. So you can take that useful liquid and pour it into another type of production facility. Let's see here. Wire 77, Dear Day 9. How would I practice splitting Marines? There's a lot of good micro maps to do that I really like a lot. And there's one big technique that I want to just note really quickly here. I'm going to have to do it with boxes. Let's say that there are some Banelings here, and that there's some Marines here of yours. Now follow my mouse cursor. My mouse cursor is your pack of Marines. What a lot of people do is they just go run back, shoot, 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 this kind of thing. What I want you to do is I want you to take these Marines, and whenever you see the Banelings, I want you to obviously spread them out. I think that's a pretty clear thing for you to spread, but what I want you to be very aware of is that often when someone has Marines here, they will spread them back. One here, one here, one here. Take Marines here and they'll spread them out like this. I want you to be aware of what I call it, well, just like a micro triangle, I guess, is that when the Banelings are rolling, the Banelings are starting to move like this. I want you to be aware that, imagine, okay, Banelings here in the middle. Actually, let me find a landmark where I can, is there anything noteworthy? Aha! You see this little pebble right here? Pretend this is where the Banelings are, right? If you have some Marines here, and some Marines here, and some Marines here, you've formed a triangle surrounding the Banelings. Whatever way the Banelings go, if they go towards this side of the triangle, if the Banelings are moving up in this direction, then the Banelings are moving away from these Marines, and they're moving away from these Marines. So in a sense, what I'm advocating is that when you practice your Marine micro, try to get a cup around the Banelings. So that way, whenever they're moving towards one cluster of Marines, they're moving away from the other clusters. Don't just spread back, spread back, spread back, because if they're walking towards you, or excuse me, if they're walking towards one cluster, they'll be walking towards all the remaining clusters of Marines. Yeah. Let's see here. Let's see here. What's the best tactic against ants? This finger. Let us divine. Let us divine. So, Syntax Lick says, Dear Day 9, how can you be aggressive with Banelings and Infestors? They can catch you off guard when you are unsieged. This is a question that relates back to a very important concept of sprinting to the start of a push, right? So what you will oftentimes see is that players will get this, let's say there's a whole bunch of tanks here. What the bad player will do is he'll take these and he'll go march, 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 and then he'll siege right here and try to make the attack. So that's obviously bad, because during the whole time marching you are vulnerable. Another big problem that players will do is that they will box and run up here, and then they'll siege. And then they'll unsiege everything and move up to here and siege. And then they'll unsiege everything and move up to here, and then they'll siege. What you want to do is walk up to a point where the push begins. Generally, it's like at the edge of your creep. This is why you'll see players lead with an SCV. This is why you'll see players save up scans and plant down some scans so they see where the army is. Once those tanks siege up, you want to be doing careful leapfrogging, and you only ever really want to be leading with 8 Marines, 3 to 8 Marines, something like that. So you have this like little pack of Marines that are basically like your task force, your hit squad, moving up at the front, trying to clear things out. Sure, they can fungal growth that, but they're only fungal growthing 4 Marines, so it's fine. But you have to embrace how slow that push becomes. So when I think aggressive Terran, I think someone who takes the stuff and then runs to here, right here, and then does siege up, and then puts a tank here, and then a tank here, and a tank here, and he's slowly chewing his way forward with these tanks being placed slowly. And then once he has like maybe 4 tanks here, then he'll unsiege all these back ones and sweep over here and start scanning to kill the expansion. It's okay to move very, very slowly. In fact, I remember I was watching like JP play Terran vs. Zerg. He's like, God, I hate this match. This matchup's so stupid. And I was like, take it easy, man. Play it slow. Play it slow, JP. Play it slow. Play it slow, Dr. P. Play it slow. Play it slow. Slow it down. Chill it out. Calm thyself. We're going to take one last question. One last question. It should be a short one. It should be a short one. It should be a nice short one. Should be a short one. Here's a reasonable question by GTX over 0. Dear Day 9, what if the Zerg goes early aggression on one base? Shut down on your attacking. Shut down on your attacking. Shut down on your attacking. I mean, obviously, you want to have appropriate defenses versus banelings and versus roaches, but don't feel an urge to be really over-aggressive. You always want to think about what your edge is. In most circumstances, Zerg has the economic edge. They early expanded. They have 2 queens producing larvae. The larvae are only making drones. They have an economic lead against you. And that's why these harassments make sense. If you're going for economy, then I know you don't have the appropriate tech to deal with my drops, to deal with my Reapers. It's the edge I'm exploiting. But if your opponent is going one base Zerg, then your edge as Terran is economy. You should just be trying to build up a big damn force and just trying to hold off harassment. Ha! Fun Day Monday for next week. Gonna be... Oh, that was such a good stretch. You, beautiful sirs and madams, must submit a replay of you early expanding to your opponent's natural and building a planetary fortress. Ding! I will not be having a Sunday show because I will be at Major League Gaming. And I would also like you to know that you should tune in. MLGpro.com. I'll be casting with Wheat and Husky and Mr. Bitter. And last but not least, JP, I'm gone. It has been a daily. My name is Sean. I hope you guys had fun watching me talk.